Hey guys, I'm going to be doing another plant update today. It's been a couple years, so decided to show off my plants once more as my collection has grown. So starting off, I have Nepenthes Vici by Platykyla right here. Still quite a small plant, but the pitchers are starting to get their spiky peristome and they're quite long. And I know that when this plant grows older, it has like very spiky and robust striped pitchers, so I'm very excited for that. And back here is my biggest plant. It's Nepenthes spatulata by Sibyonensis. As you can see, it takes up most of the top layer of the greenhouse. And down here, it's produced its biggest pitcher for me yet. If you compare it to the size of my hand, you can see it's quite big. It is a very nice peristome. This is one of my favorite plants. Yeah. This is its newest pitcher. It's smaller, but it's still quite big. So hopefully it continues producing pitchers as big as this one, because this one is massive and very impressive. And as you can see, one of the older pictures has a red peristome. So when this one ages, the peristome will grow into a much more red color. So that's gonna be cool. Right here is Nepenthes Rob Canlei by Talangensis. I did an unboxing video about this, and it's been a couple years, so I repotted it, gave it a better more care, I guess. So it's been producing some nice pictures like this, which is quite nice. And right here is a new plant. It's Nepenthes Jacquelineae, and it's producing its first picture of the season right here. So quite nice. And yeah, so my other plant right here, I got it at the same time as this one. It's Nepenthes Raja. As you can see, the main plant died because I believe it's because I didn't really maintain this live sphagnum moss, and it kind of like grew over the baby. So I'm guessing that it caused the rot because of that, because it was so like damp and humid without much airflow. So all that is left behind is a little baby basil right here. So hopefully I don't make the same mistake, and this one grows to be a very beautiful plant in the future. Right here is Nepenthes sanguinea. I've had this plant ever since like plant update number 1, which was many years ago. It's quite nostalgic, and that mother plant died many years ago, so I was very happy to get another one of these plants. And this isn't the regular Nepenthes sanguinea, because I know that the regular Nepenthes sanguinea is like a much more reddish or purplish color. So I believe this one is the orange variety, which is my favorite actually. I think it's better than the original one. So I'm very excited to have this plant again. And as you can see back there, there's another picture. It's quite long, and this plant grows really quickly. So I think that it's gonna reach the size of the mother plant I had many years ago. And back there I have a unnamed Nepenthes, but the pictures it produces are like these right here. And I believe that this one has Nepenthes Viking or Nepenthes mirabilis inside. And then over here I have a Nepenthes spectabilis by Vici that was pretty neglected by me. It was quite big before, but I put him down at the lower layers of the greenhouse, so it didn't get much light. But recently I've moved him up, paid more attention to it, and it's starting to grow his pitchers back again. So this is like a miniature version of what it grew before. Before it kind of grew pitchers that were maybe this tall. So quite excited for this plant. But even though I neglected it so much, it's produced I think probably 4 or 5 stems, when in the past I only had 1. So pretty forgiving. And back here, the big clump of stems right there is Drosera Marston's dragon, and as you can see back here, it's a huge mess of traps. They look quite nice, but I do think I need to repot it this winter. I'll give it a bigger pot maybe, so it can, grow bigger, and I can probably manage the messy traps better. And right below it is Drosera spatulata pink flower. I also need to give this one a repot because there's too much moss inside. It's covering the sundews from any sun. So I'm going to repot those, give it their own individual pots, and hopefully they turn red and they grow their flowers again like they did last year. And back here, is Drosera capensis alba. This has like colonized the whole entire greenhouse. There's some below, there's some in the other greenhouse. It's everywhere. And yeah, it's doing quite well. This is the main plant. And then over here, I harvested a ton of seeds. And I'm growing like an army of them. So you can tell how prolific they are. Right here is Drosera adelae. It kind of died off, but there's a baby plant right there. And then here's some more Drosera capensis alba. Here's more Drosera capensis alba, which has taken over the pot of Drosera natalensis. And the main plant obviously died, but there is a baby one, I think right there. So hopefully I can salvage that. Here's another Drosera natalensis in the middle, but I think all my Drosera are kind of not doing well because maybe it's too waterlogged for the soil. So I will try again, maybe in the winter or next year, and try to grow Drosera again. So yeah, here's the Drosera nidiformis, the main plant. You know, too waterlogged, I guess, so it's not doing too well. But I will try again in another year. But over here, up here, there's a Drosera nidiformis right here, which is growing in the Nepenthes pot. So this one's doing quite well. It's not sitting in the tray; it's just getting overhead watering and draining. So maybe that's the way to do it. So yeah, down here, Drosera California Sunset, also waterlogged too much, so it's probably dying. Drosera capensis alba. You basically can't kill this plant, so I'm gonna be trying to grow them outdoors slowly, see if that works. And yeah, right here is Pinguicula gigantea. It's the giant butterwort, and it's not so giant compared to these, but I hopefully in a couple years it grows to be like the dinner plate size. Over here is a Pinguicula gigantea hybrid, but the other cross is unknown. As you can tell, this plant is quite big, and I've made a couple leaf poolings out of it, which I'll show you in the other greenhouse and down below. Right here is Pinguicula Moctezuma A. It's quite nice. It has purplish red coloration to the outer edges of the leaves now. It's pretty subtle. And I gave them wider pots so that I could water them much more easier. And down here is my live sphagnum moss collection. I know in the past couple years I've been trying to grow this and I've had a lot of trouble, but it's quite simple actually once you just realize they just need distilled water with very low ppm so that they don't die from mineral overflow. So basically they just catch all the water that flows from up above, and then yeah, so as you can tell, some of it's waterlogged, but quite simple to grow actually. I have a couple different varieties. So this one I ordered from a bog in eastern United States. This one is from basically I just grew this myself when I bought some Mosterly long fiber sphagnum moss from Lowe's or Home Depot, and then it just grew. So I just put them down here. And then right here, I got this variety of sphagnum moss. I'm not sure what the specific name is, but I got it from a LECPS meeting a couple years ago. And I believe this one is also the Mosterly type. So yeah. And up here, obviously I have a lot more sphagnum moss. I got these plants from Cook's Carnivorous. So they all have the same type of sphagnum moss, but these are not the same as the one down here. So yeah, I think this might be my favorite type of sphagnum moss because their heads are very big and they are quite long, whereas this one is kind of more miniature and like star-like. But I might try putting some of this into different pots, and I'm gonna try reproducing this. So I'll keep you updated on that. So right here I have a Nepenthes suki, which is I believe it's Reflexiana by Sibianensis. Yeah, that's what it says on the name tag. Also kind of neglected this plant, but forgiving because it's growing. I think it's growing 3 new plants, but this one is the main one, I believe. So excited for this one. I repotted it because it was in one of these pots with peat moss from Black Jungle. So that's probably why it wasn't doing too well. So hopefully it grows into a vigorous plant once more. This one is also from Black Jungle. It's Nepenthes Lady Luck or Bloody Mary, which is Nepenthes ampullaria by Ventricosa. As you can see, even though it was growing in peat moss before, it was still doing really well. It's making a ton of pictures. Also gave it a repot with some live sphagnum moss on top. Here's the Finguricula gigantea unknown hybrid, which was in the other greenhouse. Just put one right here. It's growing quite well. It looks a little bit different because it's it's much more smaller. Here's Nepenthes St. Hedwig. It's made 2 vines, and it's going crazy. It flowered already, and I believe this is one of its upper pictures. But hopefully, I can get another lower picture eventually, because the lower pictures are much more impressive. Right here is Nepenthes spatulata by Singolana. Here's one of its pictures right now. It's making another picture. Got it from California Carnivorous. I'm very excited. I'm very happy that I bought this one. Right here is Nepenthes truncata, seed grown from predatory plants. So yeah, it looks pretty good. Got it for 60 bucks. It was quite expensive, but it's Nepenthes truncata, so I was more than happy to buy it. Back here is Darlingtonia californica, or the cobra lily. Got this one from Cook's Carnivores, and I know that they need a lot of sun, but I've just been growing them next to my Nepenthes, and they've been doing really well. I would grow them outside, but it gets too hot here in California, and I don't want the roots to die off like it did before when I had one of these. So doing much more better in here with a little less light, but much cooler and moderated temperatures. And as you can see, a lot of their tongues are turning red, so they look quite nice. Here's Drosera capensis, the typical form, and it's growing a flower right there. And right here is Nepenthes spatulata by Ovada. I'm giving this one a 3rd try. I was very happy to see that it was back in the market, and I got this one from Carnivorous. So it's I just repotted it because I just got it recently, so still acclimating. It had 2 full pictures. One of them died already, so I cut them off. This one is dying, so I'm gonna cut this one off, and hopefully this one grows up. But it's still acclimating, so I'm not expecting it to do too well yet. Down here, here's some Drosera adelae again, with more Drosera capensis weeds. And let's see, down here are all my Nepenthes ventrata biolata cuttings from the mother plant, which I'll show in the back later. And here are some of my air plants. And then here's Nepenthes maxima. I don't think there's a picture down there, but this one is growing really, really big. And its newest picture will be made with this one right here, which is inflating. And I probably have to give it a repot. It's very messy down here. So yeah, and here's some more sphagnum moss. I'm actually gonna pour some water out because it's way too waterlogged. Just pour that out. This is the same type as this one up here and this one. So hopefully I can get some more. Just have to make sure the water doesn't drown the moss. So that'll be good. Now we're gonna move over here. Here's my Venus flytrap collection. This one isn't doing too well, but it's slowly going back. Hopefully it's not dying from fungus gnat infestation or something. Right here is another Venus flytrap. So I basically did like an experiment with a deeper pot and a different soil mix. This one has long fibrous sphagnum on top and around the roots, but the rest of it is just peat moss and sand and perlite. Right here is another one. This one is recovering. So this one I grew outside ever since last year. This one I just took out from the greenhouse, and it wasn't getting enough light. So I think this is why it doesn't look as good. But nonetheless, it still flowered, which means it probably was in good health. So I'm trying to do like a flower stalk cutting, see if that works. But this one looks amazing. Growing it outside, looking much better. It could look better, but I'm pretty happy for what it is. Right here are my Drosophilum seedling transplants that I just did yesterday. I know you're not supposed to transplant Drosophilum because their root systems are very fragile, and I mean, I think they might be dying, but I mean, I still have another seedling in the backyard, and I have the mother plant still, and I have many more seeds to sow, so I'm not too worried. Hopefully these, recover and grow into Drosophilum plants, but we'll see. So now we're gonna move to the backyard. After I don't forget to show this one. So this is probably a pretty impressive one. This is the generic Nepenthes ventrata bialata, but as you can see, it's almost 10 feet long, spanning from there all the way to here. And it's basically adapted to the California weather. It can tolerate the California summers where it's hot and dry. I've had this plant for probably 7 years, so it's adapted. And now it's growing more pitchers right here. Now we're gonna move to the backyard. All right, and now we're here at the backyard section of my collection. Oops, okay. One of them tipped over. Here is Sarracenia bugbat. I got these from Cook's Carnivorous. I just replaced all their water, so there's no algae, pads on the bottom. Let me just rearrange them because the wind has been blowing them down recently. So here's Sarracenia bugbat. Looks quite nice, even flowered. And here's a pot of Sarracenia unknown seedlings, but I think this is Sarracenia leucophylla tarnoke, or some type of leucophylla hybrid. But it has a purple coloration. I guess we can tell once it flowers, and if it makes one of those mutated flowers, it's probably leucophylla tarnoke. Here is, let me check the name tag. This is Sarracenia alata by Flava by Purpurea subspecies venosa. It has some subspecies in there, but I can't really read it right now because it's dirty. Making quite some pretty good pictures, I guess. I have to give these a repot so they grow bigger. Here is Sarracenia purpurea. Got it from Lowe's. Gonna give this one a repot eventually too. And then here is Sarracenia abandoned hope from California Carnivores. Had this one before, glad to have it again. Here is Sarracenia purpurea by Flava, I believe. First picture of the year. Here's Sarracenia rubra subspecies golfensis. It's very messy, but it's growing quite well. Hopefully it grows some bigger pitchers this year. But these have been, these are actually bigger than they were before, so pretty happy about that. And back there is Sarracenia leucophylla. Right here has its flower, but it hasn't made a pitcher yet. That's Sarracenia minor, but I think it died. And then this one is, let me check the tag really quick. Yep, this one is Sarracenia leucophylla by Willisii. So it's grown its first flower, but no pitchers yet. And now the wind is kind of taken over, so bear with me. All right. Right here is Sarracenia redneck. It's actually growing really well, and I'm very happy with the pictures it's producing. I did not expect it to look like this, but I'm very satisfied with this one. And this one is Sarracenia areolata, which hasn't made any pictures yet, but it's making some right here. So we'll see how that looks like. And then here is Sarracenia Dana's Delight. It's got a baby picture right here. Its first picture got mauled by some type of insect, I think, but it's growing quite well. And here's my mother plant, Drosophilum lusticanum, making a lot of flowers. And the main plant, obviously it's gone, but it's starting to become like a bush now. And it has I think 8 or 7 growth points. So I'm quite happy with this. Here is a Sarracenia alata maroon throat. It hasn't been growing the big pitchers yet, but based on my experience from last year, it kind of grows it later. And it's also made 3 flowers, so it's gonna take some time to create some bigger pitchers. Right here is my favorite Sarracenia so far right now. It's Sarracenia flava variation Cuprea, which is the copper top. And right here is the epitome of it. It's a copper top. And it has that beautiful Sarracenia flava look with many flowers. So hopefully they produce seed. I didn't pollinate them, so maybe some bees did. But yeah, that's my carnivorous plant collection. This is the outdoor section, and I'll be sure to make some more updates in the future. Thanks for tuning in.